Hello everyone and welcome back to Planet Zoo. Today we are once again in our One World Zoo and we are celebrating World Bear Day. So Planet Zoo is kind enough to give us 5 different types of bears. So we have the Formosan black bear, the giant panda, the Himalayan brown bear, the grizzly bear, and the polar bear. So we are creating a habitat for each of these 5 animals, all separately. So the Formosan black bear was first. We are putting them across from the Chinese pangolins and behind the gray seal habitats. So they're kind of sandwiched in there a little bit. And then they were an interesting animal to build for. They did need climbing frames, so I tried to include a couple different climbing frames for them to utilize and play with. And they needed quite a bit of foliage as well. They are more of the jungle type of animal. And then so this is just getting it ready for them, and I really had no idea when I first got them how much foliage they would need or like what type of terrain and stuff they would need. So I ended up putting them in the exhibit first, and then once they were there I could go through and add what they needed to have, which isn't necessarily a bad way to do it, as long as they're not grumpy for too long. And I do have to watch which trees are climbable and stuff, because obviously if they can climb up the tree, which the grizzly bears had no hesitation with later on, but the Formosan black bears really like those climbing frames that I put in, and they're almost always hanging out up there. They really like that, which is cool, and I really like getting to see them climb on the different things. And some of the animations are a little wonky with the bears and what they're doing, but overall it's pretty cool. And almost as soon as I put them in, people were over there to check them out and see. So that was really cool. But yeah, I think overall they're very simple habitats. None of them are over the top or crazy or anything, because I didn't want to risk the bears escaping at all. I just wanted them to be, safe, obviously. And then these gray seals, man. One of them was just not being friendly, so. And then they're like, "We're too hot." And I was like, "I knew you would be." Yeah. So we're getting that all set up. And I had this blueprint from this theme workshop of all of these educational boards, and they don't come separate. I'm sure if I dug deep into the theme workshop I could find them separate, but it's a lot. So periodically I go through and save a different one as a blueprint for me to use later, which is nice. The educational boards by far, somebody put a lot of effort and work into those, and they are really well done, and I love utilizing them for this zoo. And they just, people, man, they got all sorts of bunched up over here. I don't know what the bears were doing, but I added a 3rd walkway because I'm like, you guys gotta spread out a bit. It's too much. It's too much. Once I add in the pandas and the Himalayan brown bear, it's not as bad, but oh my goodness gracious, they were just crazy. They were loving the bears. So I am curious to see, like, we already have 5 different species of bear, which is interesting given the lack of diversity with some of the other animals. So here we are working on the giant panda exhibit. So again, pandas are an animal I hadn't used before, so I went through. Now, it said they needed a climbable space initially. Okay, so I gave them a climber, and then I am like, one of them got stuck up there. The panda got stuck. Now, I did not build that climbing frame. That is one of the default Planet Zoo gives you climbing frames, so I was not expecting the panda to just straight up get stuck. He just got stuck up there. So, pandas are an interesting creature, but he's instantly up there. Like, he obviously wanted to be up there. I don't know. Just weird. They're weird creatures. It's fine. So yeah, almost as soon as I put the pandas in there, people were like, ooh, pandas. Pandas are very popular, and they needed more hard shelter. I like having things, if you can tell, like at 100%. That's my ideal. I want the animals as happy as possible. And then I've constantly got issues with some of the other animals. Zoo management. Ugh, gotta manage the zoo. What? Obviously. Which is totally, it's fine. So we get the pandas all squared away and everything, and they're happy little campers for the most part. Like I said, until the one gets stuck on the climbing frame, they're very happy little animals. I think actually by the time I make the polar bears, they've already bred and had a baby panda, I think. I'm not great. I always forget to pause it when I'm building, because you have to unpause it after you get the animals so that the animals go to the exhibit habitat, and it is what it is. And so this is where he gets stuck, and I'm just like, what? So I box him and I move him, and he's a happy little panda. And I was like, you know what? No, you don't get a climbing frame. Like, you don't need it. Sorry, friend. You're not just getting stuck up there. Like, I was not expecting him. Like, if he can climb up, is he get scared? I don't understand. Maybe somebody else can leave me a comment and let me know, like, oh yeah, you need to have this specific thing in there for them to climb, or yeah, they only climb up, not down. Like, I don't know. Like, it feels like they've watched a lot of the viral panda videos and are like, yeah, no, this is what they gotta do if they climb. Pandas are such interesting creatures. They really are. Like, those viral panda videos, it's so funny. There's one where they need to take the baby out of the pen for a checkup or a vet visit, and so they give the mama panda an apple, and she's like, oh yeah, cool, and she goes to eat the apple, and the baby's just joink right out of the cage. Just like, okay. And then the keepers with, like, the baby pandas, the baby panda viral videos, oh my goodness, where they're just everywhere and it's just complete and utter chaos. Yeah, so we got the pandas all squared away and happy, and the wind turbine was being a little annoying because I like to obviously add the scenery around it. The scenery gives it, like, as far as I can tell, the scenery gives it like the most amount of reduced negative effect. So now we are doing our Himalayan brown bear. I didn't know much about the Himalayan brown bear, and actually I didn't realize there's less than 300 of them in the wild, I think it said, which is insane. And truthfully, that's relatively crazy to me that they're included in this game, and they are only that few. Like, the game seems very focused on, obviously, like, the popular animals, I want to say, like the African elephant, the red panda, the giant panda, the lion, the gorilla, the chimpanzee, like, very well-known animals. Snow leopard, which is legit the only leopard we have at this point. And we've got the polar bear, we've got the giant panda. Both of those things make sense. Then we've got the grizzly bear. Alright, yeah, cool. Like, that's a very popular bear. And then we've got the Formosan black bear. Like, oh, because at first I thought the Formosan black bear and the sun bear were, like, synonymous with each other, but they're not. They're different bears. And then there's the Himalayan brown bear, which, again, like, obviously I knew brown bears were a thing, like, but I didn't know, like, the Himalayan had its own variation of it. So that was interesting to learn, and that's one of the things I do love about this game. And that's one of the things, like, I think this game could really utilize and step up if they wanted to, is, that Zoopedia and everything about it is just so informative, and just experiencing those different types of animals and those different types of environments. I think it could be really cool really amazing if they could include more animals that people might not know about as well, Like, for every super popular animal, like a red panda, you include an animal like the Himalayan brown bear that, people might not know about, and they might not realize, like, oh, there's only a couple hundred of them around. And I mean, they do obviously include some of the critically endangered animals, which is nice, and some of them are very well known, like the gorilla. But it's an interesting, I guess. And to see too where the different animals fall on the spectrum of least concern to critically endangered. Because you might not necessarily realize, oh, I didn't realize this animal was not as endangered as I thought, or is more endangered than I thought. So it's an interesting thing to be able to see that, and I like having it. It's a different avenue to get information out to people. I love the games where you can get information from them too. Like, it doesn't have to be all informative. Like, you don't have to pay attention to it. You don't have to know that grizzly bears need so much space in the zoo to be happy or whatever like that. But at the same time, like, it is interesting to see And again, the grizzly bears, you know, didn't need as much space as I thought they would, but that was the thing too, is like I built all these other 4 exhibits for these bears and they were all happy with their space and everything. And I totally, when I got to the polar bears, I totally like just spaced on how much land they need. And like I built the exhibit slightly larger than the grizzly bear habitat, and then I put the polar bears in there and they're like, nah, lady, not gonna fly. I had to go back and add more. Ugh, but the grizzly bears were fun because as soon as I put them in their exhibit, first thing they did was climb a tree. First thing they did, that tree right in the middle. They love that tree. They've climbed it at least 3 times that I've caught. I'm like, alright, cool. Like, I've never seen, none of the animals I've put in the zoo yet have really climbed a tree. They've all climbed their climbing frames or just not climbed at all. And I've put climbable trees in, you know, their spaces. Like the bonobos haven't really climbed a tree. They've all climbed their climbing frames. And literally, the first thing these little guys did was like, yeah, no, we're going up the tree. Like, they both were up there at one point, and I was like, do they get stuck up there? Like, what if they get stuck up there like the panda got stuck on its climbing frame? Like, what? Like, realistically, what? Like, what is a zoo's procedure if they give a bear a tree and it climbs up the tree? Like, what? Good thing it's in the middle of the exhibit. Like, if I put a tree on the outside of the, like, not on the outside, but if I put trees close enough to the exhibit and they can climb, like, can they go from tree to tree and get out? Like, I would assume monkeys can, right? I would very much assume monkeys could if I put trees. But yeah, there they go. Straight up, both of them. I was just like, okay, I'm gonna go build the polar bear exhibit now. Sure. You have fun, grizzly bears. I'm like, I'm gonna put grizzly bears in all of my zoos. Like, they're so much fun if they're just gonna climb up the trees and be like, oh, hey, nah, we're up here now. See, yeah, polar bears. I thought this was gonna be big enough for 2 polar bears. It's most certainly not, friends. Most certainly not. And then it was like, yeah, I need 7,000 meters squared. And I was like, it doesn't sound right. Like, that did not sound right to me in my head. So I was like, all right. And I made an addition for it. And I was like, yep, this is going to be big enough. Wasn't. Not big enough. Still unhappy polar bears. So I was like, okay, sure, let's make it bigger. I think I had to make it bigger like 3 or 4 times. It's insane. And I knew better. Like, I built an entire polar bear sanctuary for International Polar Bear Day. Like, I know how much space they need. Like, I don't know why I was like, oh yeah, this is big enough. I don't know if my perspective was just off because I have been building other habitats, and so my brain was just like, yeah, no, like, we're building exhibits too big. Like, we obviously don't need that much space. Like, we're clearly not judging it correctly. Like, this is obviously enough space. And I was like, it's not. So then, yeah, and then Faye, our little black bear, she was super stressed out. So we added some more trees for her. And she got better after that. I don't know why she was so stressed. I'm not, like, And that's the thing, is like at this point, by the time we put the polar bears in, our zoo is like a sliver away from 5 stars, and it's 3,000. Yeah. You can see where I'm just like, So I put the polar bear away. I'm like, listen, I'm not having a polar bear fight right now. I will work with one polar bear. I am not having a polar bear fight. So I'm like, all right, make it bigger. Make it bigger. And I was like, yep, this is obviously big enough. Not big enough. And I accidentally deleted that fence, and I'm like, this is why we don't keep polar bears in our fencing while we build it. This is not, so I was like, okay, I'll be creative. I'll give them a second little pond because they didn't have enough swimming space either. It's like, honestly, like, I was kind of glad they didn't have deep diving at this point, because I would have been totally messed up. I would have had to be like, and start over. Like, ridiculous. I don't know where my brain was when I built this. And I do know I didn't really decorate the Himalayan brown bear, the grizzly bear, or the polar bear. Like, I know I didn't put in their educational pieces. I know I didn't really decorate like the wind turbines or anything like that. Like, I know I have to go back through and add that. But in like a week or two is Zoo Lovers Day, and I will go through and really focus on all of those pieces that we have first, and really beautify the zoo that we have so far before adding any more. And then once I'm happy and satisfied with that, if you know it's not too much, I'll add some more of the exhibit type animals. I really want to showcase, like, there's, I think, a scorpion or 2, and I think there might be a couple of spiders, and maybe a couple other animals that just aren't quite reptiles, so they're not really gonna get that recognition, you know. They don't really have a recognized day, so those are fairly easy to accommodate and put in. So I might, if there seems like there's a reasonable space for them, I will probably do that for them. So yeah, here's some pictures of the bears being happy little campers once I made sure the polar bears had enough space. Yeah, no, the polar bear habitat needs some decorating. I could not. There's our grizzly bears, our climbers. Climbing away. I don't think I got a photo of our baby panda yet. That's okay. Maybe I'll showcase him a little bit in the Zoo Lovers Day. Maybe I'll just go through and take a snapshot of all of the animals I currently have. Yeah, so I wanted to get the bear climbing the tree. Again, I was like, I know you're gonna do it. And he does it, like, instantly. That's like the 3rd or 4th time he, like, just runs up the tree. I love it. Thank you guys so much for watching, and have a great day. Bye, guys. Enjoy World Bear Day.